Hi everybody, welcome to digital art tutorial number 13. In this tutorial we're going to be dealing with font and images and placing images inside a font to create a little bit more of an interesting text or word. So I'm going to actually start out by clicking on my text tool. Let me close this up here. And I went ahead and found a thicker font. I'm going to do a capital letters here. I'm going to type out the word Nintendo. Let's go ahead and bring this over here. I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to be doing two of these, so I'm going to copy and paste in a second, but let me go ahead and lower this to about 350. And I'm going to Command C, Command V, copy and paste, and pull one of these down. Oh, let's try that again. Command C, V, there it is. I'm going to copy and paste. Copy is C and paste is V as in Victor. So my first one that I'm going to have up here is going to be a normal font, and then this one we're going to kind of skew it so that it looks like it's going into the background a little bit. Before I get started, always I want to save my image. File, Save As. I always want to save it as an Acorn file down here under Format, and I'm going to name it Nintendo Font. I'm going to save it on my desktop and click the Save button. Now I've gone ahead and gotten a Nintendo picture off of Google that I want to use. I found one. I'm going to add the image by going to File, Add Images. And on my desktop, I'm going to scroll down to Nintendo, which is right here. And I'm going to open this. And it's pretty cool because it's already long and thin like I need it to fit it inside the letters. But what I'm going to do is make this image a little bit bigger. So Command-Shift-T is rotate and transform. I will also show you another way to get to that. But Command-Shift-T, or if you go up to Layer, Rotate and Transform, excuse me, Scale and Rotate, it says Command-Shift-T right here. So I'm going to place this image behind the font, and I'm going to do this, let's just go ahead and do it one time. Notice I have my image down here and my font up here. If I go ahead and select one of my fonts and go up to my layer option, new layer with selection, that's going to place it on its own layer. And I want to delete the one that was on my original layer. So I'm going to go down here. Let me shut this off. Go down here, select it, and delete it. And now I have that one on its own layer up here. So if you ever get confused about your layers, just remember that layers are kind of like pancakes. Whatever you have on the top is what you're going to see. Whatever you have on the very base of your pancake stack, you might not see until you turn these off and on. That's how I think of layers. Alright, so let's turn this one off for now. And we're going to zoom in a little bit so we can see and move this over. Now, it's very simple steps, but there are a couple of things we need to keep in mind when we're doing this. So we want this image to become part of this font. So if we go up to our Nintendo font and we change this to mask under our blend mode, you'll see it automatically puts the image inside of the letters. Now don't worry too much about the background being checkered. That's just because you have a filter on here and we haven't rasterized the image, which means made the image flat. So right now you can actually go in here and move your font around till you get exactly what image you like best. I'm going to make sure I got Yoshi in the left corner and make sure I got everybody fitting in here. I kind of like that right there. So once I do this, I'm going to go back up to my Nintendo layer and I'm going to hold down Control or right click and I'm going to merge it down to my picture. And when I do that, I have an actual font that says Nintendo on it. If I want to see it a little bit better, I could go ahead and change my background color to any other color I want. Let's go ahead and do black. And you'll be able to see the font a little bit better. It says Nintendo on it. All right. I'm also going to show you another trick on this. So now that we have this here, we're going to go ahead and copy, Command C, Command V to copy and paste. And I want to make sure my copy is below my other font. And I'm going to kind of shift it to the left or right a little bit so it kind of looks like it's duplicated. Now check this out. If we want to see the lettering a little bit better, because right now we can kind of see the outline, I'm going to hold down the Command button and click, and it's going to select that font. So everything that is selected is the font that is behind the first font. If I go to my paintbrush tool and I grab a black color and I start painting, I'm just dragging my mouse over, I'm actually going to paint the lettering behind my other lettering, which is going to be like a little drop shadow. So remember, it's very important with layers because you want to make sure this layer is below your other layer. And the reason I selected it using the command key is so that I could make sure I'm not going outside my lines, I'm staying inside of my lines. And that's going to help me stay nice and organized. So I'm just painting with the black paintbrush. Okay. When I'm done, I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. And now what I can do is you can kind of see the letters a little bit better now. I can go here and I can move this stuff out and around if I want. So I can move it up, I can move it down. But it's just to kind of give your lettering a little bit of dimension. I see that I have a little bit here I need to paint. So if I want to look at that, I can go here, turn all this off, Command click on my layer. It's selected all that. Let me go back and paint the stuff that is being shown. Just painting all this. Go, Command D to deselect and turn on my image. And you can see that you can read this a lot better now from a distance. Now there's a little bit here that you can't really see, so you could go back in there and kind of doctor that up to make it look a little bit more like an O if you want. But for this case, I'm really just kind of concerned with, reading the letter, making sure it's legible, and fitting the image inside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my other layer, which is down here. And I'm going to try doing something a little bit different. So before I start anything on this one, I'm going to go up to my layer option. I'm going to, let's go ahead. Here we go. I'm going to go up to my layer option, and I'm going to rasterize my shape layer. What that does is it makes this no longer a font. It actually makes it a shape. So if I rasterize my layer, now it's just one big shape. It's no longer a text. And now I can go up to my layer option, rotate and transform, and I can do what's called a perspective transform. What's really cool about this is I can click and drag this towards the viewer or away from the viewer. And I'm just going to kind of do something a little interesting. Let's go ahead and make the O look like it's coming at us. Kind of like that. And let's make sure the Nintendo is going way back here. There we go. So it looks like it's kind of coming at us. Pretty cool. Hit enter to set your font. Now I'm also going to bring in that image again. Now because this is on my own layer, I'm going to bring in the Nintendo image, File, Add Images, and I'm going to find my Nintendo image, which was down here. Click it and click Open, and I'm going to go ahead and skew this image, which basically is what I did here. So let's try it. Go to Layer, Rotate and Transform, Perspectives Transform, and I'm going to try to match this image up with my font. Also going to show you another trick that I wasn't really thinking about, but I think it will be helpful for us. Let's move this guy over. Let's drag this way down here. Way down and way down. So it looks like they're coming at you. All right. Now, I want to make sure this is below my font, so I'm going to click Enter. Remember my pancakes, right now this is on top. I want it to be below this, so I have to click Drag and Drop. Now it's below my font. So, what I'm going to do is take my font. Before I do that, let me shut this layer off so you can see the image. Let's go back to my Nintendo image, and I'm going to do what's called Sharpen. If you go up to your Filter option, you can go down to Sharpen and sharpen your luminance, and it's just going to make this a little bit brighter. Just watch this photo right here as I drag these sliders around. See how it makes the image a little bit sharper? There we go. And I'm going to click Flatten. Now I have a clearer image that I think is going to look good in the text. So I'm going to turn the text back on, go to my blending option, go down to Mask, and there I have, again, the lettering coming at us with the Nintendo in here. don't forget that we do need to merge these two layers. Right now, I can move this around and it's not set yet. So I have to go, let me get a little bit of, let's go right here. I'm going to merge these, hit Control or right click, merge down, and there we go. Now I have this. I can do the same thing again with my drop shadow. So let's say I want to copy and paste. I'm going to click on this image. Command C, Command V to copy and paste. Make sure your copy is underneath your original layer. And if you remember what we did last time, we did, let's go ahead and position this a little bit, kind of stagger the image. We Command clicked to select that image. And then we grab the paintbrush tool. We'll do a different color this time. Let's do maybe a dark red. Something like a burgundy. And we're going to just start painting. And remember, I'm painting behind my layer, or behind my lettering, so I'm creating kind of a shadow. I can also turn this one off. It'll make it a little easier. There we go. And that way I don't have to worry about missing something. So I'm painting over all of this, right over top. Alright, now, turn this back on. I'm going to go ahead and hit Command D to deselect. And you can see here you've got a little bit more dimension. Now, if you want to lower the background, it's a little bit too vibrant, you can go to your opacity slider and lower it. And it'll look a little bit more like a shadow. If you just drop this down, you can kind of see you got a little bit more of a fade. So there's a lot of things you can do with this, but this is kind of a neat way to play around with font and putting images inside. You're going to be required to do either your favorite movie or video game. I'm going to have you do 2 examples, maybe 3 examples of a video game title or a movie title with images from the movie or video game. Thanks for watching.